ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. We begin our recitation today from Rag Vadhans. This is the 8th Rag in the sequence of 31 Rags in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And we begin with the composition of Mahalla Pehla, Guru Nanak Sahib. And Rag Vadhans. Vadhans literally means Vad, great, big, Hans, swan. So the great swan. Now, the Hans or the swan in Indian tradition, in Indian mythology, in the Indian epistemological framework is symbolic. It symbolizes the soul, if you will. And like a swan is believed to be also symbolic of discernment, which means it has proper judgment, discrimination. It can separate milk from water, meaning it can catch the essence of a thing. It can see beyond what is apparent or what is merely an appearance. So Rag Vadhans, the sabads in it, appeal to our sense of discrimination, judgment, discernment, bhujana, that has to be developed. So the first sabad consists of 4 saloks of Guru Nanak Sahib and the recitation. Rag Vadhans Mahalla Pehla Kar Pehla Amali Amal Anbarai Machi Neer Na Hoye Jo Ratte Sah Apne Tin Pave Sab Koi Avari Vanja Khaniye Vanja Tau Sahib ke naame Rahao Sahib Saflyo Rukhada Amrit Jaka Nao Jin Piya Te Tript Bhaye Hao Tin Balhare Jao Main ki nadir na avai Was hai habiya naal तिखा तिहाइया क्यों लह जां सर पीतर पाल नानक तेरा बाणिया तू साहिब मैं रास मन ते धोखा तां लह जां सिफत करी अरदास. So it's fairly straightforward. Amali Amal na Anbarai Machi Neer Na Hoye. Amali, an addict. Amal na Anbarai. Anbarai means to reach. Amal is, of course, its addiction. If the addiction of an addict is not fed, then, like the fish without water, it dies. In other words, it cannot survive. It'll do anything to get its addiction satisfied. Amali. So the Guru is comparing the Amali with the fish, and indeed has in Gurbani in various places looked at themselves as Amalis, as addicts, but they're addicts of the true Naam, wisdom. हर बिन रह न सको एक राती ज्यों बिन अमली मर जाई है और ज्यों मछली बिन नीरे बिन से त्यों नामे बिन मर जाई. So this is essentially the state of a devotee, the state in which lovers of the divine live. Then the Guru in the Rahau, this is the message. How Vari Vanja, I would dedicate myself, I would submit myself. In fact, I would offer myself as a sacrifice. Kaninge Vanja, I'd be prepared to be cut up into pieces. a-sabad-a-day, if I could be blessed with or given that wisdom. So just like the Amali that we have talked about, the addict, the fish, the Guru is saying, I would die for that wisdom. And indeed, we will see we have to die to the ego in order to get that wisdom. In the second verse after the Rahau, Sahib safalayo rukhada, Amrit jaka nao, Jin piya te tripat bhaye, How tin balihare jaun. Tin balihare jaun. Again, I would submit myself to those who have drunk of the nectar of wisdom. And he equates the universe, the master of the universe, to a tree, the tree of life that has fruit. Sahib, the master, Safaleo Rukhada, is a tree with fruit. And that fruit is Amrit Jaka now. It is filled with nectar, or you could say it is called Amrit Jaka now. Either way. And those who have drunk of this nectar, I would sacrifice myself to them. I'd give anything to get that nectar. Again, it's emphasizing that point. And then there is a question here in the third verse. Main ki nazar na aavai vase habiyan naal. Why am I not able to see, or to see meaning to assimilate this wisdom that is everywhere? Vase habiyan naal, it's present with everything. And the answer is, Tikha tihaiya kyo lahe? Kyo lahe? How can your thirst be quenched? Ja sar pitar pal. Ja sar, when the water being symbolic of wisdom, pitar, the water is also within, but there is a pal, a barrier. The barrier is of the ego. The inner mind is the barrier. The mind is its own barrier. So that's what the Guru is saying. That is why you can't assimilate or quote unquote see that wisdom, because you are seeing through the ego, and the ego is the barrier. And in conclusion, Nanak tera baniya. Nanak is your trader. I want to trade with you. Tu Sahib, you are the master. Main ras, you have given me capital. You've given me the capital to trade with. And what is the capital? The capital here is the capital of breath. You've given me life. That is my capital. Man te tokha tala hai. So tokha is this deception of the mind, of the ego, that becomes the barrier. Man te tokha tala hai. Only when you cultivate sifat kari ardas, when you cultivate wisdom, when you cultivate virtue, qualities, when you begin to assimilate these qualities through Guru wisdom, only then man te tokha lahe, this deception of the mind will be removed. So we are engaged in self-deception on a large scale, we are undermining our own selves. That is the paradox. And so we have to come to the Guru to learn how to go past this barrier. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.